Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to edit photos in Lightroom for social media. We need to start advertising our yearbook and all the photos that are going to be in it. So we like to post our sports photos to the social media account just to kind of promote all the photography the yearbook club does throughout the year. So in the yearbook Y drive, right, where we keep all our photos, it's usually a good bet if you open a folder of photos. Doesn't matter what sport it is or what season. We're at the end of the year here, so pick any season: fall, winter, spring. I'm gonna go into wrestling here because there's a ton of photos. We haven't posted a whole lot of wrestling photos. If you open a folder and you notice, right, there's a full shoot in that folder, right, 400, 500 photos, but no export folder. That's usually a pretty good bet that those haven't been edited yet. So you can edit the whole set like you would normally. And then if you see an export folder, right? Like here I can see there's Josh. He exported the best photos already, right? These photos are full resolution. They are high quality, right? And there's like 18 photos in here, right? This is a great set to maybe pick out some social media photos from, right? It's not going to take too long, and what you're really doing is you're just kind of cropping them, right? So we're just going to import this set. If you don't know how to do that, just select the folder or select all the images, right, and just drag and drop it into Lightroom. You're going to add the photos at the current location, right? Click import. Right. And to start out, like, let's say you're editing a ton of photos, or you have an album already of photos that you've picked that are the best of the best, and that set is really large, right? Make a collection and call that collection, SM for social media. And just make sure when you're sorting that you're sorting it in groups of 10. So I'm going to go to my collections here. I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to click on create collection. I'm just going to call this social media SM, right? Wrestling. And I'm going to label it with the date, right? This is 2/13/24. Right? Just to kind of keep track of it, I'm going to set it as my target collection and click create. I'm just going to pick out the top 10 photos to go in here, right? You can do this one by one. And to do that, right, double click on the photo in library mode, tap B on your keyboard to add it to the collection. If you're going to do it in grid view, I would recommend you increase the size of your thumbnails. You can click on these little arrows on the far right and left to kind of collapse the panels, right? And just kind of mark which photos are the best of the best. If you see photos that are the same shot, pick the best of the two shots. You're looking for expressions. You're looking for emotions, right? Really good poses, right? So if I don't see a face, I'm probably not going to pick it, right? So there's the top photos in my opinion. That set is 9 photos. If I look at the collection, it says 9. So I'm going to add one more photo to that set. Maybe another one of an action shot somewhere. This one's pretty good. So now I have 10 total photos, right? Problem with these photos is they're not cropped. When you put stuff on Instagram, right, it's usually a small square. And that's kind of the hard part, right? You've got these big, big photos with a lot of negative space. So to crop them, you need this right panel expanded. You need to be in develop, right? And to crop, you can click on the little crop button here, or you can tap on R on your keyboard to enter crop mode. And the crop aspect ratio that you want is 1:1, which is a square. And then you want to shrink it just a smidge. Right? Now, this isn't the crop I want perfectly. What I'm going to do is double click to confirm, right? Or you can tap enter, or you can click done, right? Whenever you're in crop here, clicking on the crop tool again confirms, right? Or clicking on this little adjustment icon brings you back to adjusting it. And what we're going to do to get this crop on all of the photos is we're just going to go down to our film strip at the bottom. We can hit Control A to select them all, or we can click on this first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one, and then in Develop, right, you can sync settings. So I'm going to click on Sync, and I don't want to crop, I don't want to sync any like editing settings, right? Like I don't need to edit these photos anymore unless I think I need to, right? What I want to sync is my crop. So check the box for crop, which you usually never sync, and click Synchronize. And that's going to apply that 1:1 crop that's much smaller to each photo. And that does a little bit of the work for you. So now you got to adjust it. So you can just go to each one, tap R, move it around, right? You want to crop close. You want the subject in the frame. You don't need a lot of negative space. You want to see the emotion. These are really high-res photos, so bring it in. When you're trying to crop, right, just make sure you get the person really big in the frame. If you look at the crop overlay, you'll see these 3x3 grid lines, right? It's usually a good idea to put points of interest on the intersections of those lines. So in this example here, you know, to kind of emphasize how this player is bearing down on him, we can put him low and kind of line them up with this crop right here, and then tap R to exit crop. Right, for photos like this, again, same thing. You know, you just want the action to be centered on the person. This photo, his eyes are closed, so I know I maybe need to swap that out for something else. I can go back to my library here, and instead of being in my collection, I can go back to my previous import, and I can check the box for this photo and uncheck this from the collection. Right, and the only thing I need to fix on this now is the crop. So R for crop, set the aspect ratio back to 1:1 and just shrink it. Right, it's okay to crop at the knees, right, the waist, parts of the body where you bend, right? You can get pretty close on these. We want to be able to see the action. You want the people as big as you possibly can get them in the square, right? Otherwise, what's the point, you know? Photo like this, right? Instead of putting her at the bottom of the frame, I might put her towards the top like so. Kind of emphasize how she's throwing her, right? Photo like this, I might, you know, to include the ref in the shot, maybe make it a little bigger. And then, right? Cropping is kind of 90% of the work you're doing here, right? And you want to fix the crops because you want these photos to be shareable, easy to view, easy to look at. Okay. Once you got the crops fixed, Control A to select all the photos. Go back to your library module. Click Export. And you want to label your folder, right? You want to keep it the same folder as original folder. You want to label the folder, right? SM for social media export, the day of the edit, right? You can put your name there, right? Turek. Under file naming, check the box to rename the files to custom name original file number. And what you want to make sure you put in the custom name field is SM for social media. Okay. You want to make sure you do this because we don't want to put social media photos in the yearbook. We're actually making these photos smaller. Okay. Under image sizing, right? You're going to check the box that says resize to fit. You're going to set your long edge, right, to 1,000 pixels, right? And the resolution to 72 pixels per inch. Okay. That is going to make these photos very small, and that is okay. They're just going to Instagram. You don't want high quality, high res images on Instagram. Okay. And then last but not least, click export. Once they're exported, you should see in your export folder a little S social media export folder here. It should go pretty quick, right? And then when you're posting, just make sure, right, you include some hashtags. Maybe credit the person who took the photos if you know who it is. Otherwise, attribute it to Yearbook staff. And then maybe tell us what game this was. This is, according to the folder, this is CCS Regionals, right? So I might put that in the caption. And that's that.